Good morning, Rabbi Isai. We're only 10 days away from the amazing Yavamis. Yavamis is coming up, and Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to have a lot of fun with Yavamis, as we had with Eruvin and other Mesechtas that have name. So it's time to go get your friends. This is the week. Because we're starting right after Shabbos. Monday is the Siyum. Go get your friends, grab them, explain to them they're going to be cartoons, animation, all sorts of stuff. Let's see if we have some time here, because we started late. If I can find a good one here. Good evening, Ravelli. My name is Nisim Akilov, and since Hanukkah I've been listening to your daf. Not missed even one day yet. But the fact is, I only watch and listen on YouTube. We have somebody similar last night. I don't actually have a Gemara open. He has Gemaras. I'll tell you how I know he has Gemaras, but he doesn't open it. Many times I listen to my car while driving or in my office. Here's my question. Is it considered as if I'm learning Daf Yomi? Can I make a scene for this kind of learning? No, what taina? Anybody? Why not? I don't see a problem. Side point. I was able to sign up 9 new guys from our shul. So 9 guys means he gets a Gemara. It's Givaldic. We don't know. But you know what? If you sign up 9 guys, even if it's usher and you cannot make a siyum by listening, he could. It's a new halacha. Maybe he didn't go to the ship. I don't know what he did, but he should be able to get one. I teach in Reshit, and to my Talmidim, you're a rock star. Yes. He wants to know if they could come for Shabbos. I wish I would have had this before Shabbos. He's a bacher that he spoke to in Prushim Shul before Shachris on Shabbos a couple of weeks ago when he was by me for Shabbos. It was as if he had shmooze with Reb Chaim Kanievsky. I mean, like an entire brach v'atzlacha, not just bua. If you read this out loud, give a shout out to my father, Mr. Mark Heimberg, who's been watching you since the beginning of Sukkah. Avi Heimberg. Gadi Levi, Tomer Levi's brother. Perhaps it could be organized that people from the Koil answer questions that people have on the daf. And they could be published on the WhatsApp page. Obviously, one would need someone to filter only relevant questions. Rabbi Gadi Levi. Okay, working on it. One of the things. What else? I didn't bring the gear, but this is a handwritten letter from a good friend. Those are the best. Dear Rebelli, indeed, your Greystone gear does appear a little outdated. This is Donnie Rosenberg, the owner of Greystone. I'm not sure if Aviator Nation has made it out to Ramat Bet Shemesh yet, but perhaps it can take off. Aviator Nation, very, very high-end stuff. I got a box of stuff from him. Aviator Nation with the Greystone. Well, you start sporting the look, so please enjoy some updated goods to keep you warm during the RBS winter. While you've comment related to the sweatshirt, what I heard was, Donnie, why the heck haven't you joined the DAF already? It's been 4 years. So, I'm in for Chagigah. He's in for Chagigah. After that, we'll see. With much appreciation for your continued friendship, partnership, support, and most recently, inspiration towards Limit Torah, Lahagdilu Lahadira, Dani. Yishkoyach Dani. All right, it's a big surprise, actually. I only realized that he's doing the daf with us when I opened the box. Yishkoyach for the gear, and you're going to come with us through the entire ride of Shas. Okay, we are holding Daf Yud Ches. Chai, welcome to the guests. Show again. My gift from Badner. Yeah. Shkoyach. Oh, sponsors. Today, on Amud Beis, we start an unbelievable sugya of Tumen Tahara. Very easy. Today, especially, very easy. And it's going to be a lot of fun and very, very negela maisa. So let's see where the sponsors are. Here we go. The Parnas HaChodesh for the Koilol is Mr. Anonymous, Lili Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef. Mesechtes Chagigah is dedicated by the Kesel Davis families Refuah Shleima for Miriam Esther Bas Dvaira. Parnas HaChodesh as a schus for Fol Shlomo ben Lifsha and Rivka Bas Gila that they should be Zoicha to Zerah Shel Kayama Bekorov. By Shali Rosenfeld, the 19-year-old, in memory of my dear friend, again, he's 19 years old, donated $2,600. In memory of my dear friend, Yehuda Augenbaum. By Jonathan Davidov, in memory of Bechor Davidov ben Penir, may the neshama have an aliyah. And one more, Yoni. It's not about the daf, it's about the Yoni Nagler. In honor, we know him, he's the old one. In honor of Avi Mendelbaum's birthday, which is today, and Lezech Nishmas, Chai Sharona Bastraga Feivel, whose yortzeit is tomorrow. What happened? Don't want to know. Okay, good. Zog Daily Gemara, top of Yud Ches Amud Aleph. So yesterday, we're trying to figure out this unbelievable halacha of tashlumim for Shavuos. If a person forgets to bring a carbon on Shavuos, his Eli Stefansky, Yomi Chagigah, whatever it is, he has the ability to make it up for 6 days after Shavuos. Unbelievable. It's weekday, you can bring it just like you can bring it 6 days after the first day of Sukkot, and the first day, 7 days of Sukkot, 6 days of Pesach, he could do so 6 days for Shavuos, total of 7 days. How do we know? One pshat is because we learn from Pesach, the other pshat is because of this drasha, v'karasim u'b'kutzrechem, when do you make a day kadosh, u'karasim, you're making kadosh, the time of kutzrechem, the time of Shavuos. And it can't be Yantiv, it has to be after Shavuos. That was yesterday. Rish Lakish Omar, the Chag HaKotzer. So now we have a third drasha, the Chag HaKotzer. This is more in the pasuk. You don't have to go to a second pasuk like the drasha we just showed. Yeah, here, just in case you forgot already. Why is Rish Lakish saying a different drasha? Because this is two different psukim. It might be referring to something else of a kutzrechem. It might be referring to literally when you reap, not so much the yantiv. Over here, it's within the yantiv itself, within the pasuk itself. The Chag HaKotzer, in the yantiv, it's called kotzer. Which yantiv do you reap? It's Shavuos. Emas. Now, what is the pasuk talking about? Are you allowed to cut the tfuah on yantiv? We're talking about after Shavuos for the next 6 days when you reap. So we're talking. Here's a hint in the Torah for tashlumim. Omer b'Yochanan. Chag Asif. Look at the bottom. It says in the same pasuk. Chag Asif. Ezil Chag shesh be'asif. Avi Omer is a Chag Sukkos. Emas. So I'll do the same drush that you just gave me. I'm going to do back to you. Says Rabbi Yochanan to his brother-in-law Rish Lakish. Emas. What's the pasuk talking about? Eli b'yantiv malacha b'yantiv mishari. You allowed to do malacha on yantiv. El b'chol shemayed. You're talking about a chol shemayed mishari. Elo chagabab is manasifa, achanami chagabab is manasifa. We're not talking about the shlum or anything. It just happens to be the Torah is telling us when this yantiv occurs, not to tell us when you can do tashlumim for a carbon. But it says, Rabbi Yochanan asked them, what, you're allowed to do malacha on chalamayid? Miklal, the Tavayis Sfiru, the Chol Shemayid, Osbasis malacha. How come Rish Lakish didn't answer him? Yeah, you're allowed to. He didn't. He agreed to it. You're not allowed to do malacha on chalamayid. How do we know this? The Torah Rabbanon is Chag HaMatzos Tishmor Shivas Yomim. Now, it's unbelievable. If you remember from Moed Katan, Daf Beis Amud Aleph, the very, very first Rashi in Moed Katan says, how do I know that you're not allowed to do malacha on Yantiv? The whole Masechta is about not doing malacha chalamayid. How do you know you're not allowed to do malacha chalamayid? And Rashi over there brings Chagigah Daf Yud Ches. We have to wait 45 days from the beginning of Moed Katan all the way to here to finally find the source why you can't do malacha on chalamayid. According to Rashi, it's a deraisa. Taisa says it's only an asmachta. We bring psukim as a hint to this derabanan, but it's only derabanan. Rashi and other Rishonim hold it's a deraisa. It says in the pasuk is Chag HaMatzos Tishmor Shivas Yomim. Tishmor is a loisasa. You have to, if you are not shomer, you're over in a loisasa, the entire Chag HaMatzos. All of it, not just the first day. It doesn't say in the pasuk the first day, it says Chag HaMatzos, including Chalamayid. Chalamayid is aser in Melacha. Limen HaChol Shemayid, Sha'aser Basiyas Melacha. Haman and Paroi had a fight. right? It's coming up now to Purim. They had a fight. Who did more harm to the Jews? You say you know the joke already. So, yeah. So Haman tells Paroi, look at you. I gave them 1 day Yontif, 1 day, but you gave them 7 days. No. What are you going to say about that? Says Paroi, yeah. But I caused them to clean 30 days before my Yontif and have a stomach ache 30 days after Yontif. Zog Dimar, Divi Rabbi Yosha. Rabbi Yonasan Oimer, Ein it Tzarech. We're getting to Tum and Tahara, so we gotta find. Anybody have better stuff? Email me quickly. You don't need to come on to this. Chag HaMatzos Tishmar. I have another source. Kal v'chomer. Umar Rishon ushvi. Shein on Gedusha lefnei l'achreihem. This we'll save for later. Umari shunishvi she'en kedusha lefnei l'achreihem. Also b'siyas malacha. Here, you have the first day of Yontif, and you have the last day of Yontif. But each one of these days, you have Yontif Rishon, the first day of Yontif. Right over here, there's no kedusha. Right over here, there's no kedusha. The last day of Yontif, there's no kedusha over here. There's no kedusha over here. But the days of Chol Hamoed are sandwiched between kedusha. And nevertheless, the first day and the last day is also b'melacha. Chol Hamoed. And it didn't. She also sees malacha. Since they're sandwiched between kedusha and kedusha, there should be also to do malacha right over here. So I don't even need a pasuk. Learn it with Kal v'chomer. What's the answer to that? The answer is what about just a regular week? Any day of the week. You have a Shabbos over here and a Shabbos over here, so you should be also to do malacha Sunday through Friday, according to your logic. And that obviously cannot be. We wouldn't exist if we couldn't do malacha. Don't bring me a raya from a regular week. There's no carbon musaf, and therefore you're permitted to do malacha. Perhaps Chol Hamoed is different, because since you have to bring a carbon musaf and it's sandwiched together, it's also been malacha. Says the Gemara, Reish Chodesh Yichiyach. Reish Chodesh, yesh by carbon musaf. What about is malacha? It's not, just because you bring a carbon musaf doesn't constitute ism malacha. Mal Reish Chodesh and Kari Mikra Kodesh. Kari B'chol Shemayet Shekarui Mikra Kodesh. There's, you mekadesh it, but with the isr malacha, you say this day is kadosh with this malacha. So you have a number of things here. First of all, it's sandwich, and it's a mikra kodesh, and you bring a musaf. Everything together maybe creates isr malacha according to Rabbi Yonasan. I don't need a pasuk. He says Tanya idach, but I have another source to tell me that it's also to do malacha on Chol Hamoed. According to Rashi, it's a deraisa. According to what?
Why can't you say the pasuk had to come and say sheishes yom the pasuk had to say it.
So you stop asking a question. What's the havimim of the Gemara? Forget about it. The Gemara. The Torah says mufurish you're allowed to do. You're saying you have a pasuk. Sheishes yom teyas malacha, tas malacha. No, I hear. Sheishes yom tas malacha. Yom shvi shabbos l'shon ha'kecha. L'sasik malacha. No, I don't remember the words of that. Okay, I hear. Yesh la'ayin. He's asking that the pasuk says mufurish by Yom Chol that you could do malacha. Tanya idach. It says by Sukkos, you shouldn't do any work. Teaches you the entire Yontif you can't do malacha divrei Rabbi Yossi HaGlili. Rabbi Kiva oimer einet tzarech. Hareyu oimer elam oyadei Hashem. So I don't know if you could see very well because there's a lot of psukim here. You have here pasuk lamed daled, lamed hey, lamed vav, lamed zayin, and lamed tes. First, I put lamed daled so we know that we're talking about Sukkos. Chag Sukkos shivas yom. And then it says Bayom Rishon kom alach zabed lo yisasu. Bayom Hashmini kom alach zabed lo yisasu. So Pasuk Lamed Hey and Lamed Vav are telling us the first day of Yontif and the last day Shmini Atzeres Simchas Torah can't do malacha. Lamed Zayin Elam Oyadei Hashem. Okay, says Rabbi Kiva, I don't need a special pasuk to tell me that you can't do malacha on Chol Hamoed. Kol Melechas Aved Lo Yisasu. It says in the pasuk like this: Elam Oyadei Hashem. All of a sudden in pasuk Lamed Zayin it says these are this is the Yontif. What's the pasuk trying to tell us? In Berishain, Harik V'Neim Shabbosai. If it's the first day of Yontif, we already have over here. Where is it? B'Yom Rishon, Pasuk Lamed Hey, right over here. B'Yom Rishon. What could the pasuk be talking about? Elam Hayad Hashem. What is it coming to tell us? In Berishain, Harik V'Neim Shabbosai. In Bashvi, Harik V'Neim Shabbosai. And pasuk Lamed Zayin. No, I can't see. Lamed Vav. B'Yom Hashmini. Kol Sasu. Again. In Berishain Arik V'Neim Shabbosin. In Bashvi Arik V'Neim Shabbosin. Did I put the wrong pasuk in here? Oh, it says Bashmini. Yeah, Bashmini. You have to take out Bashmini. Very good. Arik V'Neim Shabbosin. So this pasuk Elam Oyadei Hashem is talking about Chol Hamoed. All right, we're almost on the bottom of the page. We're almost turning to Tumen Taira. Yo, come down. I need you for a second when we get to Tumen Taira. Okay, Tan Yiduch. Sheishes Yom Toichal Matzois Uvayom Hashvi Atzeres Lashem. 6 days, we're talking about Pesach, 6 days, eat matzahs, Uvayom Hashvi Atzeres Lashem. Mashvi Otzur, it's too loud. Mashvi Otzur. Just like the 7th day, it says Shvi Atzeres. You have to stop. Otzur, right? Remember the stop sign, Atzor. You have to stop doing malacha. Avsheishes Yomim Atzurim. The 6 days are also, you have to stop from doing malacha. Chol Hamoed, no malacha. Ima Shvi Otzur B'chol malacha. Maybe you can't do anything on Chol Hamoed. There's an extra hey hashvi the 7th day atzeres hashvi also b'chol malacha and shisha yom atzur b'chol malacha. Okay, so it's 2 things. First of all, it tells us you can't do malacha, but you could do some malacha. Not all malacha is only in the 7th. Chol Hamoed you can do some. It's very interesting. The Torah gave Chachamim the right to decide. Eze yom asur ve'eze yom mutter. They decide when it's mutter, when it's asur. Eze malacha asura ve'eze malacha mutaris. Very interesting. Why? Where do you see that Chachamim have this power? Welcome back, Tzaddik. I was just thinking about you. You came back. No, I have a picture of you in my dining room with a monkey. Remember that? When did you get back? Thursday, okay. Welcome back. All right, so Chachamim, Rashi says beautifully. What's going on here? Rashi says, since Chachamim have the right to decide when Yontif is, in other words, when Chol Hamoed is, they decide when Rosh Chodesh is. And by deciding when Rosh Chodesh is, they decide what the Chol Hamoed starts. So they have power. If they have power, they can decide when and how. What malacha also? Is it davar aved, not davar aved? So I saw in a sefer called Eretz Hashem, I think it's called. He says, what's pshat? Because the Torah wanted to give human beings the ability to go the extra mile. It's okay. We have a lot of mitzvahs, and we're sort of forced to do it. Everything Hashem said to do this. Hashem wants to see that we're going the extra mile on our own. Chacham say, we should take something upon ourselves that's not in the Torah. Let's do something else, like somebody, and he brings a mashal that, and we're going into these sugyas sort of, when people would be makbid to eat chulin al taras hakodesh. It's an extra mile. I'm going to be careful with my regular fruit, like it has Gedusha. Going the extra mile. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Here we go. Umutorim behesped v'tainus. We learned in the Mishnah that the following day after Yontiv, after Shavuos, even though you're bringing a carbon, let's say you're trying to make it up, you're allowed to do a hesped, you're allowed to make a tainus. Why? We have the tzdukim, and they claim that Shavuos is always on a Sunday because it says Mimachras HaShabbos. Shavuos should be the following day after Shabbos. So, if Shavuos falls out on a Shabbos and you have to bring the makeup carbon on Sunday because you forgot, make sure that you don't do it like a Yontif. The kind doesn't wear Shabbos clothes. You make hespedim on purpose. You make a hesped and you fast to show it's not Yontif today. Even though it's on a Sunday, you don't want them to think. Says the Gemara, V'yitmar, Maisa umeis, you're not going to believe this. Maisa umeis, Alexa. Alexa! Who gives the best Daf Yomi Shir in the world?
Hi, I'm Alexa. MDY is the best shiur in the world.
There you go.
Shall I?
Do it again. No, I didn't like it, so do it again. Alexa,
Hi.
who gives the best shiur in the world? There's always a delay here.
MDY is the best shiur in the world.
Givaldi.
Shall I repeat myself like a parrot?
You got to take out that middle. Yosef, you have a lot of work now.
Now we know women listen to this year.
I have to say, listen, at 12:10 a.m., I called up Gary. I said, listen, you got to do me a favor. Get Alexa to say this. It's like, I'm going to sleep now. So get Alexa to say it. Okay, thank you. Shkoyach Gershon. All right. Voitmar. Maisu Meis Alexa. I'm not joking. That's how it's spelled in the art scroll. That's how it's spelled in my Gemara. Alexa. Umeis. Meis. The Alexa's dead. Finished. Beloyed. Died in the airport. V'nichnasu kol Yisrael l'sabdoi. All of Klal Yisrael came to give a hesped. V'lo yinicham reb tarfim b'nei sheyomtav shel atzeres chaya. We gotta get this up. We're coming into Tumentires in a second. So what do you, Reb Tar says, what are you giving a hesped now? It's Yontif, it's Shavuos. Says Gemara, Yontif Sagadaitach. You can't give a hesped. No, nobody in the right mind will come to a funeral, a levaya on Shavuos. If Yontif Mikah, so nobody's going to come. It's the days after Yontif that you're allowed to make up your carbon. The days of Shechting, Tavayach. Oh, so what do you see from here? I'm busy with Alexa now. What? Hold on. Oh, he said you're not allowed to make a hesped. It says in the Mishnah that you do a spedim and a tainus on the day after Shavuos. Reb Tanner says, what are you doing? There's no spedim now. It's the day that you can make up karbanas, and if it's the day you make up karbanas, you cannot have a hesped. But it says that you could make a hesped. Which one is it? Loikash. Kam b'yontav shechal liyos achar Shabbos. Kam b'yontav shechal liyos b'Shabbos. Very simple. Says the Gemara. Here's Shavuos. If the hesped, you see the guy with the flowers. If the hesped is right over here, then you could make a hesped. Why? Because it's the day mimachar Shabbos. That's when I want to show those dukim people. They don't know what they're talking about. We're going to make a hesped. We're going to make a tainus. We do everything. But if a guy is nifter right over here, 3 days after Shavuos, I have no reason to show that it's dukim anything. So it's asur. Because it's in the days of Tvayach. It's in the days of making up. The only day I have a heter to make a hesped, says the Gemara, is on Sunday. Bottom line. Okay. Very good. Now we turn to Daf Yud Chesam Beis, sponsored by Moshe Horn in honor of Chewy, Woody, and the Kale twins, and sponsored by Moshe Kinsbursky in honor of Brian and Talia Edgar. So, who's the Mishnah sponsored by? I forgot already. I know, if you have the name, let me know. I'll say it. Okay. So we're getting to the sugya of Tum Tahira. Basically, it's until the end of the Masechta. Tum Tahira, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, people lived this. It was their life. Sort of like we live COVID. They lived it. You got to be careful from this, you got to be careful of that, where you go, how you go. There's a super spreader. The guy that makes everybody contaminated by COVID. There's a less guy. So, there are, just to explain, it's very, very simple the way it works. Tumah always goes in dargas, in steps. So you have the most tummy thing in the world is a dead human body. Dead yid. Aviyah bois hatumah. The highest level of tumah. If somebody touches that body, he becomes one step less than that. And if somebody touches him, he becomes one step less than him. And it keeps on going less and less until it stops, or almost. Body is Aviyah Vaisa Tumah. You touch, you human being touched Aviyah Vaisa Tumah, what do you become? Avatuma. If somebody touches an Avatuma, what does he become? A Rishon. If something touches a Rishon, what does that become? A Sheni. Goes from a first to a second to a third to a fourth. Now, so we have that. There's a Aviyah Vaisa Tumah, there's a Avatuma. A dead mouse is a Avatuma. If somebody touches a dead mouse, he becomes a Rishon. So real quickly, these are the things we're going to be talking about in the Mishnah, and it goes down in order. Chulin, you have a regular apple, is chulin. The most this could become is a sheni. In other words, here, in a second I'll demonstrate. Meiser sheni, which is, you take truma, g'dayla, you take meiser rishon, and after you take all that stuff off, 10% goes to yourself, you bring it to Yerushalayim. Meiser sheni. What is that? That's like chulin. It's yours to eat. So therefore, it only goes to a sheni. Meaning, it cannot make something a shlishi. It doesn't have. It stops at a sheni. It doesn't become tamei more than by a sheni. But truma, when you give this food, you give the 2% to a kayan from your produce. You give 2% to the kayan. It's very susceptible to tuma, more susceptible than chulin. So therefore, a sheni will make the truma a shlishi. It becomes a shlishi. Now, what could a shlishi do? It can make kachim a revi. Truma cannot make anything. It can't make chulin tameh because it's very weak. It has very, very little strength, or what do we call it in COVID? Very little. What was that word? Contamination. Okay. Very, very, very little ability to contaminate. It's only a shlishi, but it could contaminate karbanos. It could take a carbon. If somebody has meat from a shlamim, that is very susceptible to truma, even more than truma. So shlamim will become, or chatas that a kohen eats will become tamei through shlishi. What can you do with the revi? Only the water of a paraduma. And a paraduma is so susceptible to tuma, it can become tamei forever. From a shishi, from a shvi, from a 110. It's just very susceptible to tuma. Okay. Now, I want to show you something real quickly. Here, come, Yol. My son Yol is going to come here. I want to show you something very, very interesting. Here, come. Say Shalom Aleichem, this is Tzaddik. He does the daf on his own. This is the second Masechta without me asking him. And no incentives. Psh, Givaldik. Now, I have here something. We didn't rehearse this, so here. This, Rabbi Yisai, is Avatuma. He's dead. This guy is dead. Yeah, died. He died from COVID. So, I'm going to ask you to, here, pick that up. Yes. Yeah. We have a mask for him. Here, put the mask on the mouse. Here, I'll help you. Now, because he put the mask on the mouse, now this guy became a. So I have to do this. Hold on a second. It's very, very important. Okay. This guy's a Rishon. Why is he a Rishon? Because he touched the Avatuma. Rishon. Now, me. This is very, very important. I touched him, so I become a Sheni. Now, Midaraisa, I shouldn't become Tamei at all. This apple that touches him becomes a Sheni. That's the way it works. This apple becomes a Sheni. He's a 1, this becomes a 2. But me, I'm a person. If I touch him, I can touch him all day long. Shmak, you boy, do the daf, gevaldik. So what becomes Tamei? My hand. My hand becomes Tamei. My rest of the body doesn't become Tamei. That's very interesting. That's a new halacha, a new concept that I don't become Tamei, just my hand. What do I do to get the tumah away from my hand? I wash my hand. I don't have to wash my whole body because my whole body is not Tamei. Just my hand, this part, I can wash it. There's another thing I can put in the mikveh, but I don't have to go that much. Just okay. Hold on a second.
Come closer. I need a thumbnail. Hold him like that, and I want the mouth. You should be holding the mouth. Right.
Yeah, hold the mouse. Smile. Okay. Very good. Givaldi. So that's it. You could go back, but you're a Rishon for the rest of your life. Okay. Shkoyach Reb Yoel. Says the Elegant Mishnah. Why did you krach, Mendy? I'm just curious. And now you have charata from the krachs. Okay, good. Just hear me out. Let me have it. So now, where are we? Where's my other sheet? Okay. Remembering that we're over here. You wash your hands if you touch chulin, or for chulin, lemaiser, uletruma. You wash your hands for those 3 things. Chulin, meiser sheni. You want to eat meiser sheni? Wash your hands. Truma. Now, how else can you become tamei? We showed one example. Another example is if you touch a Sefer Torah. If a person touches a Sefer Torah, his hands become tamei. That was a Gzera D'Rabbanan. Another way to become tamei with your hands, unrelated really to these first 2 cases, is if a person is not careful with his hands. He doesn't remember, he's Mesiach Das, he forgot about what he did with his hands. He might have scratched his head, his body during his sleep. You're not careful, that creates tum in the hands, and you have to wash your hands before you eat chulin, truma, and meiser. Period. Next. Ulekaidesh. But if you want to eat kachim, you want to eat a karban, you went to the Beis HaMikdash, Beis Hashem, next week, we're going to the Beis HaMikdash, we're bringing karbanis, the whole thing. In a few days. Matbilin. What does matbilin mean? Toivel what? Hands. Stick your hands in the mikvah. Matbilin, I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page with me. Not your body, your hands. Well, a chatos, what does chatos mean, Rabbi? Say not a carbon chatos, but mei chatos. A paraduma, the water I sprinkle at somebody touched a dead body, the only way to become tar. Im nitmu yadav, nitma gufay. If your hands became tamei with what? By touching Yoel, by touching a Rishon, or by touching a Sefer Torah, nitma gufay. The whole body becomes tamei, but not stam yadayim askonios. The whole body. So what if the whole body becomes tamei? Then what do? Mikvah. Now I have to put my whole body in a mikvah. Listen to this. Taval lechulin. If a person goes to the mikvah, is toivel, with intent to be tahar for chulin, to watch himself, so he could eat chulin b'tahara. Huchzak lechulin asul meiser. Unreal. This is the biggest yesod in Yiddishkeit. I don't know the biggest, but we talk about this all the time. Yiddishkeit is in the head. It's in the head. What difference does it make? I went to the mikvah. I'm completely tahar. I'm out of the mikvah now. Why can't I eat something else? No. It goes about what you thought when you went into the mikvah. You thought you want to become tahar for chulin, you're stuck with chulin. You thought you want to become tahar for truma, you could do truma, meiser, and chulin. You thought you're going to be tahar for kachim, truma. But if you only think about chulin, you're stuck at the least level, at the lowest level. I didn't touch anything. I know for a fact. I watch. No. With the Rabbanon, it's about intent. A guy goes to sleep at night and he thinks, all he does is he thinks for 3.5 seconds, I'm going to sleep so I could get up the next morning to learn Daf Yomi. His entire 8 hours of sleep, one big mitzvah. He thinks he's going to get up, he's going to sleep so he could go on a skiing trip tomorrow. Garnished, nothing, zero. It's all in the head. Yosef, don't worry about it. You thought both. In the head. If you think in your head that this piece of mun is going to taste like pizza, it tastes like pizza. You don't think anything, it tastes like zero. It's in the head. Zog the Gemara says the Mishnah. So I can't eat meiser. I'm tummy. But if I went to the next step of meiser, I thought to myself, I'm going to the mikvah for this. What if a person didn't think about anything? Zero machshava. He happened to fall into mikvah. We'll see. Nothing. If he had intent to go for a truma, it's good for truma, but also l'kodesh, he can't go for the next step of kachim. And if you went for the fourth step of kachim, but he didn't think, he never had intent, he didn't even realize that there's such a thing called paraduma. They're going to call him up there to hold it and then sprinkle. Can't deal with it. Can't touch the mechatas. Can't touch that water. You will make a tameh, even though you just went to the mikvah a second ago. Tavel chamor, mutar, lakal. If you go for the most chamor, you have an intent. I'm going to the mikvah so I can touch paraduma water. It's good for everything on the list. Taval v'loy huchzak. You went into the mikvah. You tripped into a mikvah. You got scared. You jumped out. You had zero kavana. Kilaloi taval. It's as if you didn't go to the mikvah at all. Unbelievable. I'm serious. This is like, we got to think about it. It's not some halacha. It teaches us how to live. Big day prushim, medras loichlei truma. A big day amaretz. Oh, hold on a second. I got something here for you. I mean, you're familiar with it, but we got to show it anyways. The begadim of amaretz. Amaretz from New York. Big day amaretz, midras leprushim. What does that mean? If a person is a zava, nida, they have tumas haguf, they're avatuma, and they sit on a bed, they sit on a couch, the couch becomes an avatuma. Very high level, like a dead mouse. All the clothing of amaretz, since they don't know anything, we don't know what their wives know, so maybe their wife sat on it. Maybe he was a zav. We don't know. So we have to treat everything the highest degree of tumah. Leprushim. Shul right over here called Prushim means people that are separated from others, people that act with a high degree of being careful with Tumah. Big day Prushim, Medrash Loichlei Truma. Now, you think these Prushim guys, not them, but the people that are Prushim, they're so careful, but their clothing is Tameh for those who eat Truma. The higher level. Big day Loichlei Truma. This is how we treat people. This is how we treat things. It's very interesting. I don't know if there's a logic here. I mean, just thinking about it, I could be completely wrong. If a person has somebody in their house that's deathly ill, a 98-year-old man who's like very, very fragile. So the way they treat him with COVID, for instance, we're going to be so careful. We're not going to bring this and anybody that went next to somebody that had COVID, nothing in this house. Because if he gets it, he's done. That's how you treat truma. That's how you treat kachim. So somebody's a little careful. He puts on a shtickle mask when he goes to shul. It's not on the same level as when he has a 98-year-old in his house. Yeah, he's careful. He's careful for truma. He's not careful for kachim. It's a different way of being careful. 2 different levels. Maybe. I don't know. Yosef was a big chassid and he was a kohen. Yet, since he was only makbid on truma, his napkin was considered tamei for somebody that wanted to eat karbanos. He treated everything like kachim. Yet, for the final level of chatas, it's nothing, it's tamei. Says the Gemara, what is the Mishnah talking about? You have to wash your hands to eat an apple? A regular stam, chulin? Or even meiser sheni? Vermini, hatruma, vabikurim. Bikurim, your first fruit. What is that considered? It's a type of truma. Chayavim aleyim misa. If you eat it b'mezid, you're chayiv misa b'dei shamayim. V'chaymesh, and if you eat it b'shoygeg, you're chayiv a fifth. V'asul zarim. There's a special, Rashi sticks in. You could ask, what's the chiddush? We just said, you chayiv misa. Obviously, it's asul zarim. But Rashi also sticks in, this or lav. But the Rishonim discuss it. V'hein nichsei koyin. It belongs, the truma, you give the koyin 2%, he could be mekadosh a woman with the 2%. He could buy real estate with it. It's his. V'oilim be'echad umeya. Truma is very, very chomer. So if a piece of this apple, truma, falls into a box of apples, the whole box becomes truma, a Yisrael cannot eat the box. Unless there's 100 other apples in there, and a total for 101 with this, then it becomes mutter to eat everything. What about other Yisurim? One apple more and a little bit, a rive. 1.5 apples will get this out of any Yisur. Not by truma, you need 100 apples. Oh, what does it say here? What needs netilas yadayim? Truma, bikurim. That's it. It doesn't say anything about chulin. Ve'erev shemesh, if a kohen wants to eat his truma and he's tamei, he goes to the mikvah, but he can't eat it right away. He has to wait until nightfall. Who told you that meiser, who said a regular apple, you have to wash your hands for that? Kasha meiser meiser, kasha chulin achulin. What do we do here? Says the Gemara, Bishlam meiser meiser like kasha or Rabbi Meir v'Rabbana. I can say it's machlokes. This nan kol atom bias mayim b'divrei soifrim. Anything that's a sheni, like my hand was a sheni, which needs a mikvah. Midrabana mitames hakodesh upoisel satruma. It makes the kodesh tamei. What does mitama mean? Mitama is very strong. It's so tamei that it can make something else tamei. Upoisel. What does poisel mean? It's not the same thing. Poisel mean it itself becomes puzzle, but it's a dead end. It doesn't continue giving off tuma. Upoisel satruma. Umutal chulin amaisa divrei meir. Oh. So we have a Remeir here. So we have Chachamim that say Meiser is Aser. Remeir says Chulin and Meiser are mutter. You don't need Netilas Yadayim. So El Chulin Achulin Kashi. Oh, sorry. There. V'Chacham Meiserim b'Meiser. El Chulin Achulin Kashi. What do I do over here? Over here we said it goes according to Remeir. The Mishnah. Chulin and Ma'aseh need Netilas Yadayim. The Brisa says Chulin and Ma'aseh don't need Netilas Yadayim. So we have Remeir. So what do you do about Chulin? Loi kasha kan b'achila kan b'negia. When it comes to eating, the Mishnah says you need Netilas Yadayim, but just touching you don't need Netilas Yadayim. Matzil Rav Shimi Barashi Ad kan lo yibli Rabbanan alei the Remeir el b'achila the Meiser. El b'negia the Meiser. Ub'achila the Chulin lo pligi. What are you talking about? There's no machlokes by touching meiser and eating chulin. Says the Gemara, Eloidi, we have to maybe we'll go back tomorrow on this. Eloidi v'idi b'achila v'loi kashi. Kam b'achila the nahama, kam b'achila the pear. I think everybody knows this. When it comes to eating regular chulin bread, you have to wash your hands. That's why it says you have to wash your hands. We're talking about bread. Why? Because one of the reasons we want kohanim to be careful with truma, and bread is considered a meal, so everybody is involved. Everybody that washes their hands with kohanim get used to this idea. We'll stop over here. Rabbi Isai, whoever washes for fruit and doesn't have to is about gaiva, but if for bread you wash. Have a wonderful day.